All right, testing. All right, today I have a very important task, and that is to light this space a little bit better for the YouTube videos that we're gonna create here. In my previous videos, I had this table lamp right here set up, and then I had a monitor light attached, and that would do most of the work for the lighting. But as some of you may know, I also just recently moved, and during the process of moving, my light bar broke. So I'm missing that, essentially what would be called a key light. In addition to that, this space is really dark. In the other space, there was a big window that could help kind of be that fill light and fill in some of those dark shadows that you see right now. It's currently 2:45 p.m. and it's completely pitch dark. If I turn off this light here, and this light here, and then the monitor off, you can't see me, and that does not work very well for videos. So the objective is to, make this space something that can be interesting to look at while I'm filming my videos, and overall make it a little bit more cinematic than what it looks like right now. Also, I need to do like a desk setup tour, but I'm still working on some things to make it just feel a little bit more oomph. So before we make any changes, let's take a look at what we got going on right now. And one thing about the setup that I really want to focus on is how can I make it super duper simple to set up, because if I make the process difficult, I'm not gonna want to set it up every time I want to film a video. So I need to make it really easy. And I like this lamp right here because it's already here. I already use it. So this is going to be used to fill in some of the harsh shadows on here. It'll also act as a practical light. And what a practical light is in like the film sense, it gives the illusion that this light is lighting the entire environment. But in reality, I'm going to have this light and position it kind of over here. Speaking of which, this is a Lume Cube light as well. It's just one of those, like, you could probably find this anywhere on Amazon. And one thing that we want to do is we want to kind of create this triangle effect on my face. And so the way to do that is, a lot of people, they like to put the light directly on their face, but it makes the subject appear really flat, and we don't want to do that. So we want to create lots of depth and make it feel like the way you see us is how you would see us if you're actually in person. So one of the ways we can do that is by, instead of having the light right here, we'll move it off to the side. Actually, I'm going to move the light over here, and it'll still help create that triangle effect that we're looking for, except it's gonna be on this side instead of this side. And the main reason doing that is to help with the shadows right here. So you can see that the shadows are a lot more diffused and less intense. So I think that's gonna help a lot. And plus, since the monitor is right here, it actually makes sense for the light to be coming from the same direction, so it feels just a little bit more natural. All right, so we've got these two lights set up, and I think it's looking pretty decent so far. And I think we're mostly there, but if we take a look at this wall, it looks to be really empty. So one thing we could do is adjust the angle of the camera. So maybe we don't want to include the entire wall. Maybe we just want it like this. This is not a bad look as well, but I feel like it's just still not as interesting as it could be. So I got this light, and I think it could be a really cool way to create more depth in the video. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. Oh, it turns on immediately. Wow, look at that. Oh, that's really strong. Okay, so let's think about how we want this to be set up. Oh, that looks kind of cool. I'm looking at the camera right now. Wait, that's kind of, oh, that's so cool. Since we've got that light now, I think it would be cool to film it this way. I think that looks pretty good. So let me see how that looks. So we can make it. Do a lot of cool things, but let me change the light actually. Green. But I kind of like that gold look. The sunset effect. But I like the circle effect, and honestly, that looks really good. I really like the depth that it gives, and we do have a little bit of shadow behind us, but I think overall, a lot of my videos are this talking head style, and I feel like I'm not really moving that much, so I feel like it's probably not gonna be super noticeable. But overall, I think this looks all right. One thing I gotta do is do a few tests and throw in the color grade to see what it looks like, because I have an idea of how I want this to look like in my head. Like, by the time you're watching this video, the color grade is already applied, but here's what the video looks like with no color grade, which is how I'm currently seeing it. So you can see that the wall is pretty gray, all the lights are gray. There's just not a lot of color in this space, especially when it's really dark. Everything just seems more dull. So I'm gonna do a few tests and see what that looks like, and then I'll do a final conclusion. Okay, one thing that I wanna just quickly mention is when you are lighting your scene, you wanna make sure that you have the correct white balance. So for example, like we have this like, you know, nice color sunset orange light over here, but then we have these more white-ish lights over here. And so we need to make sure that the camera is white balanced correctly. And we want it to be closer to the white side than the warm side. That way it'll make our color grading process easier. So this light is currently at around 5200 or 5400 Kelvin. Before we even film we're gonna like white balance it to this card. Now you can do this card, which I got on Amazon, or you can do a white wall. Just make sure that wherever you're white balancing, that you're also in the environment where the color is present. So, you know, white balance right here. Don't white balance in an area where the lighting scenario is completely different. I know that sounds maybe a little bit like duh, but I think that was a tip that could have been helpful for me when I was learning. And so, but maybe that's more for me than for you. What is a good indicator that it's good or bad? So let's say both of these lights were warmer, and that's gonna obviously make the whole room a little bit warmer. So when you do the white balance, it's gonna probably really offset that. We don't wanna make the warm lights look like it's white. That's not the objective. We want to make sure that our skin though appears as neutral as possible. So that's when you would take your key light, so the light that I have over here, and you wanna make sure that you kind of white balance with that light shining here. That's probably super obvious for you, but I'm just sharing that because it was not super obvious for me when I was doing it. So anyways, let's take a look at these clips. Okay, so I just took a look at some of the tests that we did, and I think overall it looks pretty good. We're able to introduce more color, which makes the video just look better and have more depth and personality to it. So that's really cool, because when we first moved into this space and I was looking at it, I was like, wow, there's not a lot of natural light. That's kind of scary to film in. It's just really easy to have that big source of light. You never have to worry about, like, you didn't really have to worry about things not being lit well. But when you come into an environment like this, where if I turn off all these lights, you won't even be able to see me, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But actually, as you dive deeper into like filming stuff and getting more familiar with like video, it's actually more beneficial when you can completely control your lighting environment, because now that I have this light set up here and here and then my other light right here, I don't have to mess with the settings so much. I don't have to white balance every single time I want to film in this room, because it's not going to change unless I change, unless I change this light right here, which I can change the color to be warmer or colder, then I would have to, change some of my settings. But because we're in a very, I guess, static situation in terms of lighting, it's going to be very predictable. When you're relying on the sun, for instance, obviously it can change a lot when a cloud moves in front of the way, or you're in an area where it's darker, now you have to change all your settings. This is actually going to be really cool, and I really like this sunset lamp that I got. This is like super cheap on Amazon. And it's cool. I have some of the color elements from here, match from the poster, and I think it gives that nice, it kind of introduces like personality and color, which I really like. So let me know what you think. I think I'm gonna keep it like this when I film my, talking head style videos. Are there anything that you would do differently? I really missed the monitor light bar that I have, so I might still get one, because that kind of acted as my key light. I didn't have to set one up. And one thing that I really like trying to focus on is how can I reduce the amount of like things I need to do to prep, because the more time I spend prepping, the more time I spend, the less time I spend actually doing. So we'll see, that might change. And then one last thing that I realized while filming videos is that this is not really related to lighting per se, but a lot of people, when they film something, whether it's in their desk or they're in their home, they clean everything. They'll clean their desk, so it's like super duper perfect. And it really depends on the kind of vibe that you want to give off to the audience. But sometimes I watch like those, like in movies, you see like a bedroom and you're like, how does it just look so natural and organic? And it's because not everything is like tidied and cleaned up all the way. Like they have some clothes on the ground, or they have papers, like they have things sprawled out right on the desk, because it shows that somebody was there. It shows that it's actually being used. And so that's a tip that's something that I've just observed and realized, that when I film my videos, I don't need to like make sure my desk is perfectly this way and the mouse is perfectly this way, because you know, in most times of the day when you come and take a look at my desk, you're gonna see it's probably like this or like this. It's little things like that that I think can help make your videos feel more natural, especially if you're trying to give that more document your life aesthetic. All right, anyways, enough about that. Thank you so much for watching the video. Again, let me know what you think about this lighting setup. I've got 3 lights going on. We're gonna see if this is a setup. I'll probably change a few things here and there. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.